start off by getting into some context around this issue. So transgender people face a rate of unemployment that is twice that of the general population, and of course trans women of color face a whole other set of challenges. So just to get us started, we can start with you, Laverne. Can you each just let us know what you think the biggest barriers are to entering the workforce?
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here, and I'm so honored to be here tonight to share space with each of you. I know a lot of you personally. I'm inspired by a lot of the activism that a lot of you do. For me, I think about my own sort of struggles over the years. Before I was an actress on television, I was a struggling actress in New York working in restaurants, and I remember I stated I was able to transition at a restaurant that I worked at for many years, which was great, but I was really terrified of ever losing that job because as a trans woman of color, I was keenly aware, you could see, I would try to, because I wasn't making a lot of money at that restaurant, so I would go and apply to other restaurants, and I wasn't getting a job, and I had many years of experience, and I was a pretty good waitress, I think, and yet I wasn't getting a job someplace else, and I also have a college degree, and I was pursuing my dreams of being an actor. So I stayed at this job where I wasn't being treated very well, and I wasn't making a lot of money because I didn't see a lot of other options. And I did that at a couple of different restaurants where I was treated really badly because as a trans woman of color, I didn't feel I had other options. And but I was very lucky that I had a job. And then I had a place to stay. I think, and I met Maya Taylor, who some of you know from the film Tangerine and the upcoming movie Happy Birthday, Marsha P. Johnson. And we were talking, and she shared with a reporter that she was, a couple of years ago, she was looking for a job, and she applied everywhere. She applied to for 500 jobs. She was on several different websites, and she got a job offer from a telemarketer. And she goes in, and her ID at the time didn't match her identity, and they found out she was trans. And the moment that happened, all of a sudden the position was no longer available. And these job discrimination things are kind of hard to prove. This happened in Los Angeles, she said. And so then she checked the website to see if they said the job was no longer available. If she would say, so she was like, okay, let's see if it's still on the website. So she goes, and the job is reposted on the website because they had taken it down. And then once they found out she was trans, they reposted for the position. So she calls, pretending to be someone else. And they said the job was available. And then she goes in and confronts them about it, and she ended up being hired, but the person who discriminated against her was going to be her supervisor. So she didn't feel comfortable taking the job. So this is one example of what happens, and you mentioned that the unemployment for trans people is twice the national average, is 4 times that for trans people of color. So people at the intersections of multiple identities are experiencing a lot of discrimination in the workplace. And a lot of it has to do with IDs matching, a lot of it has to do with that kind of discrimination. I think there's also the component of trauma. And I think for me, it's always really important to talk about trauma and shame and worthiness, because certainly we need to have access to resources and access to, shut up soon. Like this brilliant women talk. We need to have resources and access to employment, but then we also need to feel as trans people that we are worthy to step into these spaces and that we are qualified to go there. So there's a whole host of other issues around education and being safe in school, to stay in school, and moving past binary assumptions when we, in terms of gender and accessing resources. So I'll shut up and let you really